Hello and welcome to today's webinar, where Nicolas Trojack, Manager of Managed Services at Alithya, is going to kick off our April Managed Services monthly education series, talking about Oracle Cloud Subscription Monitoring Essentials. First, for a bit of background here at Alithya, we have over 320 professionals with more than 23 years of experience providing the full Oracle suite of services, EPM, ERP, SCM, and HCM across various industries spanning financial services, healthcare, high-tech, professional services, and more. Alithya is not only an Oracle partner, but we are also an Oracle ERP, EPM, and HCM customer. Because we run our business on Oracle Cloud, our team of experts is here to provide the right solutions to meet the needs of over 1,000 clients and counting. Our managed services team is a dedicated practice of Oracle certified consultants, 100% Oracle Cloud focused on sustainment services to provide support, training, testing, administration, reporting, and enhancements. We greatly appreciate your participation in this webinar series delivered by our managed services team. I'll let Nicolas take it from here.
Thank you, Mary. Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. Nicolas Trojack. I am the manager over our development managed services team. I'm also a specialist when it comes to Oracle licensing and Oracle Cloud security. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how do you monitor your Oracle license subscriptions? So what we're going to go over today is, how does Oracle count the licenses towards each product subscription? How do I know how many product subscriptions I'm licensed for with Oracle? What system roles count towards what licenses? And what do I do if I'm under licensed? A little bit of background on me. I've been working with Oracle here for, I think, nine plus years. I think all of us lost a little bit of a couple of years during the COVID time, but I think it's 9+ years now. I actually have been certified in the Oracle HCM core suite and have worked my way kind of across things as a systems administrator, both on the HRIS side and on the technology side of the house, working within payables all the way over to learning, recruiting, even performance management and general ledger. I kind of came into Oracle as a product around the big change of security. I think it was they called it, I think it was R13, and that's pretty much, I went live with Oracle, an implementer, and then a month or two later, Oracle rolled out that big security change. So I hit the ground running with Oracle and having to kind of do all the reading, educate myself on the product and how it works as the sole administrator for a company with 30,000 employees. Definitely experience that I appreciate, but I don't think anybody else would. So throughout the years, I've been responsible kind of for all of everything and a bunch of the in-between pieces when it comes to Oracle. And that's the kind of knowledge that I've gathered that I'm able to bring here when we talk about Oracle licensing subscriptions. So Oracle licenses are like going to a buffet. Well, what does that mean? Well, Oracle counts its licenses based on what roles you have in the system. So the role you have determines what license it counts for. So let's pretend we're at a buffet. And at that buffet, we have the option of the salad bar for $5, or I have the full dinner buffet. The steaks, the chickens, the pork, just pork products, bacon over there. If I want just the salad bar, I can go to that salad bar and I can go ahead and I can take salad, I can grab some cantaloupe, maybe some pasta salad. That's only going to cost me $5. That is a lot like Oracle's way of looking at licensing. At Oracle, they have what they call self-service license that you see in most product suites, and then a non-self-service license, or just a hosted named user license. So for Oracle, if I'm going to the salad bar and I'm taking off the salad bar the ability to enter expense reports, the role that lets me put in time and labor, the role that lets me, activate procurement and put in requisitions, I could have one of those or all of those, and they're only going to cost me $5. Now, on the other side, we have my dinner salad bar. Now, my dinner salad bar, we've got all these different items. I could be an account payable manager. That's my level of access. A budget manager, a general accountant. I could be one of those or all of those, but as long as they're on my salad bar of the Fusion Enterprise Resource Planning Cloud Service hosted named user, I'm only going to pay one price to have anything off that salad bar. So as a user, if I only have rolls off of salad bar A, I'm only going to pay price A. If I'm got an item off salad bar B, I'm going to pay price B. But if I go grab some salad and I get a steak, then I'm going to have to pay for two different licenses. That is how Oracle positions and Oracle does its license management. The roles you have in the system determine what licenses you have to pay for that person. So let's get started. So I think the most important thing we have to ask ourselves is, well, how many licenses did I purchase from Oracle? When you initially start working with Oracle, when you provision your instance and implement, what you do is you get what's called an OD or an order document put together. Now, that order document, Oracle obviously keeps a copy of it because they invoice you every month. On your end of the house, it could be kept by somebody in finance, a VP. Somebody has access to that document. Now, if you do not have the ability or don't know how to get to that document to answer these questions, you can do a couple different things. One, you can reach out to your Oracle sales rep, or two, you can go to the link below and it'll show you how to navigate to the Oracle My Services page, assuming you have access, and get a copy of your ordering document and your Oracle licensing report. So what is an order document? Well, if we look over here on the right, our order document ties together all of the important pieces for us. It gives us essentially their SKU of the license, so B91079, and then the name of the license. Now, in fairness, the name of the license doesn't always map one-to-one to what you'd see in Oracle, but common sense takes us pretty far here. Then it tells us how many. So in this case, for that first license, Enterprise Resource Planning Cloud Hosted, I purchased 15 of those. Well, what does that mean? That means if 15 people, unique people in the system, have roles that count towards this license, that's the most I can have. That's all I'm paying for. Now, if I have more people with licenses, then that's where we start to get into trouble. Now, it also tells you the term of your license or term of your contract, which is great to know because I'd say about 2 times a year, if you're on top of it, you should really just true up your numbers, make sure you're on top of your usage, and maybe just chat with your sales rep. Go, hey, we're a little bit over right now, but we think it's going to level out. Are you okay with that? Let's go back to it. Let's meet at another 6 months, see where we're at for the year. You know, acquisitions, divestitures, growing and shrinking, expanding, retracting. Granted, Oracle wants you to grow. You want to grow as a company, which means 60 months, I think, is 5 years. If your company stays at these numbers over 5 years, it could be concerning. I would expect you to go up in numbers. So now that we know how many licenses we purchased, what I like to do is I like to break it out. And by that, I mean, I pull up my own personal Excel spreadsheet and I break out the SKU and my license name. Now, in my case, I map that license name to what I see in the report, obviously, and then I put down how many have been purchased. That way, I always have a record not as part of a PDF. Call me an Excel guy. I like to have my own Excel where I can track my history of usage and always kind of be on top of that. Now we're going to go into the monitoring license usage. So in monitoring license usage, Oracle has actually provided us with a very useful tool. On that My Services site that I mentioned, Oracle will once a month look at your usage in the system and essentially in your production instance, look at your peak usage. So if you start the month with 25 people using a license and it goes down to 20 people, but then it goes up to 30 people, Oracle is going to look at that 30 and go, you were using 30. Let's have a discussion. Maybe you only had 25. You were set for 25, right? They grab what's called the peak usage. So what we have here is a report called username by service roles report. Oracle provides this as part of a package called the metric package. We can upload this. You can upload it, or you can ask one of your developers or reporting specialists to upload this into your production instance and tie it together as it is a BI publisher report for you to run. And what this report does is it takes a look at everything in your system currently. And it gives us the information we want. It talks about who the users are, what license, what role counts, all of that. So to get a copy of that report, you can go to this link here. I think it's doc ID 2512712.1 on oraclesupport.com. So once you have your report kind of loaded in, it's going to look a little bit like this. Once again, if you're not a reporting person, don't need to worry. All you need is a link to hit that open button on that usernames by service details report. Let your BI expert, reporting expert, systems admin handle the rest. They should know how all of that works. In my case, I put it in my personal file. As you see, I have a security file. I got some other stuff in there, but I made it look nice for everybody today. And when you have that report, all you have to do is hit that open button. Now, when you open that report, you're going to go ahead and download that as an Excel. Now, sometimes this could take a bit of time. It really comes down to how customized your system is. If you are a client that has many, many, many custom roles and many, many users, this could take a while to run. You might have to schedule it. Now, if you're not sure how to schedule it, once again, go back to your reporting developer or your systems admin. They can explain to you how that's done. But for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to pretend we're able to just download it and I have it here. Well, what we get is a big old document with a whole bunch of data and information. Not terribly useful to us because this can kind of give us a headache. I mean, it's not telling us a lot, but this is the basis of starting that analysis and figuring out how many people are using what license. So from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and make a pivot table out of this Excel document. Always pivot table from data image. Now, there's something I think is very special. Maybe I'm not much of an Excel guy. Maybe it's before my time. I couldn't explain it to you. But when you go to do that, you're going to get your pivot pop up. And one of the most important things, whether this is successful or whether this fails, actually lands on you checking that box right there that says, add this data to the data model. I'm going to be honest. I could not tell you what Excel means by that. But what I can tell you is what it lets us do. So once we do that, we get our pivot. So in our pivot table, it's going to naturally be a pivot table. We're going to drag our user logins, because they're all going to be unique, into the far right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and right click on the count of user login, and we're going to go ahead and change the summarize value field. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you get the opportunity to do distinct count. Now, remember when I said that this box is really important? If you don't click this box, that distinct count option does not show up. What that distinct count does is it handles us eating everything off of the salad bar. It says, wait a second, this guy's got a plate. He's got 7 plates. They're all full. I should charge him more. He's a guy eating too much at the salad bar. And the distinct count goes, well, timeout, man. Nope, just one $5. He's only one person. I don't care how many salads or how many pieces of fruit and cantaloupe he has. It is good to go. So this is super important because trust me, most users, and the ones you care about the most, more of your power, more advanced users, are going to have more than one role. And what you don't want is to accidentally count and think you're using 5 licenses when you're actually only using 1. So this really solves that problem. Now, go ahead and hit OK, and then it's a pivot. What we want to do is we'll drag service into our rows. Now, when they say service, what they really mean is license. So what license am I using? Now, looking at this, I can tell you, first time I saw it, really scary. Because I see this and I go, oh my gosh, my ordering document, I only have like 4 things on there. This says I'm using like 30 different licenses. Don't worry about it. Focus on what you saw in that ordering document. You had your enterprise resource planning, or mid-size, not mid-size, but hosted named users. Focus on that one. All those other ones, Oracle has a lot of what I call legacy and alternative licensing models, which means that if you look at this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways to do ERP self-service licenses. In reality, if you're recently with Oracle, they're really only doing it 2 ways that I've seen, which is the hosted named user license and then the name of the product. That's going to be your telltale sign. If you are hitting other licenses that aren't in your suite, trust me, Oracle will let you know eventually, and then you can come to this report and look at it and use some of the skills that we're talking about later on. So what do? I go in, I look at my Excel that I put together, and I grab those names and I plug them in. I expand everything out, and for services, I only check the ones that matter to me. So on my sheet, I think I had both. I had the self-service licenses for procurement and for expenses and ERP, and then I had the hosted. I think I had one more. I think it was a supply chain execution and maybe a product management license. Supply chain gets a bit wonky, but it's all a good time at the end of the day. So I just check those boxes. Those are all I want to see. Those are all I care about today. Once I've done that, now, was it product management? I nailed it. Now I have the name, which might not map 1-to-1 with what you see on your ordering document. It might be like they throw the word Oracle in front of Fusion Procurement. They call this Enterprise Resource, not Fusion or Oracle Enterprise Resource Planning. So once again, use your discretion. If there's really a question, ask your Oracle sales rep. They'll fill in the blank for you. But what I'm showing you on the screen today, pretty much this is where you see most licenses, at least on ERP, where most of the license monitoring has to be done. And then see where I've got my distinct count. It's telling me how many today individuals are using that license. Now, what I like to say that's important, because I'm not going to get into the here or there of it. I would say it is a best practice to just assume, because it does count, that if you have a user in your system that is inactive but still has roles on them, in many cases, Oracle still counts that license. So this isn't just your active employees. This is any user account in the system leveraging a role is counted here. And that's how Oracle, for the most part, looks at it. I think there's a provision in there that talks about if you auto provision them or if you terminate them and hire them in a certain way. That doesn't apply to all cases. So better safe than sorry. It's in your best interest to make sure that when you terminate an employee, that you're making sure you remove all roles from that employee so they don't accidentally get counted, or you're not chasing work that you should have. And I would do it on a monthly basis, so you're not chasing stuff. Now, back to the point. Now that we've got them all, I throw those numbers into my Excel and I do a little bit of subtraction. Based on what we're seeing here, I think I'm in a little bit of trouble. Because maybe being over on those self-service salad bar, 46, not a bad deal. I don't have a licensing cost, but I can tell you Oracle does. We're not going to go over, but the self-service license compared to the hosted full license, it is a magnitude of tens. So where you might pay $1 for the self-service, you might pay $100 a month for the full hosting. And that's because the type of access is different. The hosted gives you access to go into the module and actually use the module, where the self-service just kind of lets you tangentially use it as kind of a day-to-day, I put in my expense report. I'm not in there analyzing. I'm not in there doing I'm not doing I'm not the payables clerk. I'm not the analyzing guy, but same here. So when I see I have 68 over on my ERP hosted licenses, I'm worrying, because that's big money to me and my company. And that means I need to take a look at that and get a handle on why that's occurring. So now what? We're over. We know we're over. We know what our licenses are. We know what we told Oracle we have because we bought the contract with them, and now we're over. What do we do now? Well, what we do next is we analyze. We're analysts. At the end of the day, all of us are business analysts. We're here because we want to look at the data and know where we're at in a given point in time. We're transactional people. So the first question I always ask is, well, what role counts towards what license subscription? So what I'll then do is I'll take the role name and I'll drag it underneath the service. What that does in a pivot is it breaks it out, and it's still counting it distinctly. So if I look at my procurement cloud expensive license, and I look at it and go, wait a second, my procurement cloud, what was my number here? Procurement cloud, I bought 10. Okay. Ooh, and I'm using 71. All right. That's a pretty big difference. Why am I using 71 instead of my 10? Well, once I look at it like this, I know where my problem is. I've got 3 places I need to look here. I have too many buyers, way too many buyers, way too many people with procurement contract admin, and way too many people with procurement manager. Granted, all of those people could be the same people, but it tells me those are the 3 roles that I need to look at because that's way over 10. I always start with the big numbers because sometimes we have to ask ourselves we have to really address 3 questions. And do these people need access to the system to do their job? Or were they accidentally given this role and it's just kind of there? If they do need access to the system, is there an alternative way for them to get the data they need? Maybe a report is a better solution or more cost effective. And then you're kind of left with the last piece, which is they actually go into the module, they make changes inside of the module. They can't use a report to just see the data. They don't have the role by accident. I've got 55 people that really are buyers for some reason in my company. Well, now we have to have the hard talk because either we're paying for more licenses or we're changing how we do our business process to reduce the number of people that need to be in the system doing that. Maybe all 20 buyers report to one buyer and that one person has to be the one filling it out in the system. The goal of this is to understand how your business is functioning today in relation to the system usage. So by looking at this, I go, okay, I've got a problem with these 3. Let's talk about why they would need buyer, right? Oftentimes, after I go ahead and build out my list of what we're using, I like to break them out into a list pile. That way I have a kind of a Rolodex in front of me of if I get a new employee and I got to give them roles, what is it going to count towards? Now, at this point, we know we're over, we know where we have to look. This is where the conversation gets a little bit deeper. And it gets deeper because now we actually have to start looking at the individual users using each license type. Now, I can't tell you how your business should be structured or how they should do things, but this is where you also get the possibility to talk about maybe having custom roles built. And that's why in my skill set, I'm an Oracle licensing and security expert, because sometimes the Oracle delivered role gives you access to something somebody doesn't need. And you can customize it out so that it doesn't count towards a license. So at this point, I would say, if you get to this point and you need that kind of help, reach out to Alithya. We can help you get through this phase. You've got big numbers. You really need help working through what does each role give people. Maybe you need to do a workshop on leading practices or possible solutions to address it. We are here to help you with that. If you have questions, you can always email me directly. My email is real simple. It's just my first name dot last name, Nicolas.Trojack at alithya.com. Yeah, it's really long, but I like to pretend it's simple. And we can get you through that. Now, other things to consider. At the end of the day, Oracle Fusion Cloud is one product. I'll say one of the things that I see often is EPM is actually a different set of licenses. We're not talking about that today, but EPM is a license for that system. And EPM has the ability to kind of drill down into ERP. When you drill down into ERP, you're actually using an Oracle license. So that's just a consideration. I also here put kind of a metrics description. So kind of a description of the license and Oracle's kind of out of the box global pricing. Obviously, if you worked with Oracle and you look at that list, you'll get an idea that you've negotiated some kind of discount. I mean, that being said, that really is Oracle licensing and subscription management basics. My name is Nicolas Trojack here at Alithya, manager over our managed services team. And thank you so much for taking your time to come out today and learn a little bit about how you could possibly save your company a couple dollars.
Great. Thank you, Nicholas. This concludes today's webinar. Please check out our website at alithya.com for updates about other webinars, events, and more.